This story is about two boys, once innocent, changed forever by a CW show. One of them wanted the other, a doofus, to also love the show. This is their story.
Welcome to RiverDorks, the podcast dedicated to the greatest show of ours or any generation, Riverdale.
That's the one.
With me, as always, is the snake to my box,
Roger Miller.
and I'm John Erickson. Forgot to say that. We'll keep going.
Thanks, John. Please go on about how this is the greatest podcast. The greatest because we are now on iTunes, so we may not be the greatest, but we are one.
We are technically in existence.
Speaking of existence, we have our friend who exists. Say hello, friend.
Hello, friend.
Nailed it?
Thank you. I take direction very well.
You do. Who are you?
Oh, hi. My
What
name...
are you doing in John's house?
What are you doing in my house?
What am I? I thought this was my house. No, my name is Hope Morawa. I am a friend to Roger through mutual friends and mutual interests and...
That mutual interest being, of course, Riverdale.
So that brings us to our most important question. What is your history with this beautiful, wonderful show?
Oh boy. I was cat sitting for my friend and I was on the Netflix. And I think the first season had just been fully released. And I typically like to wait until shows have a full season out for me to get into it. So the whole time cat sitting, I watched the first season. I fell off the bandwagon a little bit. But then the whole second season was released. And that took me weeks because that's a long one. And now I'm working my way through the third season. And
Fantastic.
very much into it.
Now, have you watched a lot of CW, this sort of show before?
I've dabbled with like the Veronica Mars, some like old school like CW from like back in high school.
Was that the WB?
Yeah, I think it was still
Yeah.
technically the
You
WB.
could WB yourself.
Yeah, WB 20 in Detroit is what it
Wow.
was, the station.
Shout out to Detroit.
Yeah.
Hello, Detroit.
Hi, Detroit. I will see you so soon. But I've also just finished not too long ago The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes. What did you think?
What did you think?
I initially started reading the comics when they came out.
The new spooky stuff.
The Chilling Adventure one, because it's the same universe as the Riverdale comics that were also coming out around the same time. So I was like, oh, this looks spooky, and it's nice because Netflix is doing it, because it can be they can just get away with more. Even though Riverdale gets away with a lot. Like,
yeah.
Things are a lot more saucier in these times, and I'm not mad about it.
There's a lot more shirtless fellas in Riverdale.
Yeah.
That's something that we've talked about. Kind of the difference between Riverdale and Sabrina is that it seems like they had to do less censor dodging for Sabrina, and so it's a little bit more explicit, where with Riverdale what's kind of silly and fun is how they get around censorship and that kind of thing, and it kind of adds to the campiness of the show.
The cool thing about Riverdale is that it still kind of has those like old flares to it for a very modern time, because it does take place today. But the cool thing about The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is that half the time I was like, wait, what year is it? Because there's not that, like, you see laptops and things, but they don't have like a big
they're not a big
in it, so you kind of can get like sucked in to a very like modern
You'll
vintage.
see like people texting in the background and a couple people like checking in on
Artemis? Is it?
No, Ambrose.
Ambrose,
That's right.
yeah.
Ambrose will be on his
His
laptop.
Because what else is the poor guy gonna do?
Oh,
He's also
man.
like the best.
He is sex, is what we
I
decided.
love him to pieces.
Yeah, Ambrose is great.
I would, damn.
We're about to get into episode 8 here. I have to mention that I am terrified to listen back to episode 7. I haven't started editing it yet, but we've switched back to beer because Wine Roger is an unfocused, sloppy Roger.
Oh no.
Wine Roger decided to change the entire format of the show right as we decided to start recording.
Yeah, so it's going to be an adventure, and thank you for coming with us.
I know. I'm 1 degree away from the girl that plays Josie McCoy.
What?
Ashley Murray. She's
Yeah.
done a lot of work with one of the regulars from my old serving job. So she was like, yeah, she's Josie and Josie and the Pussycats.
Is she around? Is she in LA or is she in New York?
I don't know. I want to say, I mean, she's in
Toronto right now, probably.
Yeah, wherever everyone is filming or what have you. But I think she might be in New York. I have no idea.
I fucking love Josie and the Pussycats.
I just love to be like 1 degree away from like people in New York.
Exactly.
It makes me more exciting when I go back to Michigan.
Oh, right?
When I'm like, oh, I know this person who's
really
friends
in the
with
know.
this person.
We're
and-
basically best friends.
Yeah.
John,
Yep.
how do you feel about living the high life? As in yachts, and we can buy a basketball team, other things that rich people do. Because guess what? I got us a sponsor.
What?
We are one step away from that high life, my friend.
Oh, man.
And I want to tell you about
I
him.
wish we were drinking that one.
Well,
Well, it's a champagne and beers.
Because I'm so thirsty right now, Roger. I wish I had something to drink.
well, you're gonna have to wait another week for the box.
What box?
The box that our friends at Shaker and Spoon are gonna send us.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Have you? What can you tell me about them?
Well, I hear that if you're a cocktail lover, they're the kinds of people you want to be in the know with.
That's right, John. I forgot that I have all the ad copy and you do not.
Yep.
Let me tell you, Shaker and Spoon is a monthly cocktail subscription box that delivers the craft cocktail experience to your home. That's right. They're going to send you syrups. They're going to send you produce. They're going to send you mix-ins. They're going to send you garnishes, everything you need to make 12 cocktails, 4 from 3 separate recipes.
What about bitters?
Bitters too, man. Bitters, orange oils, all that good stuff. Each box is, wow, this is trash audio. Each box revolves around one type of liquor. All 3 recipes use that same type of liquor, so you don't have to run all the way around the world trying to get different liquors. It's perfect for entertaining, making cocktails at home, setting up your own bar. It's great. Please visit them and buy their stuff so they give us money.
You want to take that one more again?
Nope. It is a perfect stocking stuffer, but the unfortunate thing is you're gonna have to wait until next Christmas to stuff
I would
anyone's
love to
stockings.
find out somebody got me this for your local alcoholic.
For any time of year, Shaker and Spoon makes a great gift. They do gift subscriptions.
What's the discount?
What I'll tell you is that you can save $20 off a subscription at Shaker and Spoon simply by going to shakerandspoon.com/Vixen, because we love you, our loyal River Vixens. Boy, oh boy, advertisements make me nervous. Okay, we're gonna get a box and we're gonna talk more about it next week. Right now, I'll tell you to do that.
And with that seamless transition, we're gonna wet our lips with a little bit of Riverdale. This is episode 8.
The Outsiders. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm very much ready.
Oh my god, I'm ready too. I'm ready to not be recording this anymore.
And we're not. And we're back.
We are back. He's not lying.
We're back.
This was... I can't tell if this was a slower episode. There weren't, like, major revelations this episode.
It felt really specifically like moving pieces around on the board episode. Like, we have to get Polly to the lodges. We have to get FP in the job site. We have to get everybody suspicious of the serpents. So it feels like it's all building toward whatever we've got lined up for the kind of season finale or the last couple episodes leading in.
That's a very good point. It does sort of build up like the White Worm as a location where things might happen. It builds up a little bit more of FP and his general sneaky involvement with Jason and why he has his Letterman's jackets. Honestly, this was an episode so much on like family and parents and
how bad all these families are.
But and
Yeah.
how much like when thinking about what my River Best is going to be, it kept jumping from either different dads or different mothers.
Although I want to have a new segment. I want to try out a new segment this time.
Hit me.
Who is the worst dad in Riverdale? It's the new segment we're playing.
I mean, comparatively,
I feel
there's a lot more worse mothers.
Normally, and we've talked about that, but this one felt specifically, sorry to cut you off.
no. I thought you were gonna be like, who's the best river daddy? And I was like, I'm here for it.
Normally it's hands down Luke Perry.
I would disagree.
Oh.
I think that, I mean, all the dads besides Cliff Blossom, he's the worst.
Yes.
He also looks the worst. He has unruly eyebrows, and I'm not here for it. But you put FP, and it's like, oh,
Luke Perry.
characters.
We just call him Luke
Fred.
Perry Dad around here.
Fred. Is it Fred?
It is Fred Andrews.
Oh, yeah, so
We
FP and Fred.
definitely-
I was like, too many Fs. No,
We
them
definitely
next
call
to
him
each
River
other
Dad. Yeah.
is like hot.
That's true.
It was, for a brief minute, we had a lovely dad sandwich.
Dads being dads.
It was a beautiful sight. I want to hear your opinions.
On who the worst dad in Riverdale is?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Cooper, hands down.
I want you to just be caught up right now.
Oh, that's a good segue to our other segment. Is Mr. Cooper hot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
this
no.
is something we've been talking about.
Okay, so here's our scale. 1 to 10. 10 being he starts to be hot.
At no point of me watching Riverdale have I ever thought that he was hot.
So a 2.
So a negative.
Oh.
Because also, like, okay, I don't want to be that person who's like, let's go off just the beauty of it, like the face.
Of course, because
Certainly-
everyone's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a good dad moment, that's also going to be like, yes, you get the personality points, you get like the dadness behind it. That's why we have like Zaddies. He already starts off low. His face is too smooth for me.
I think possibly his first introduction to the whole show, or at least his first like major introduction, was him in a short sleeve shirt working on a car with Betty. And that like hit me so hard in my dad bone.
John, which one is your dad bone?
It's the one where my hands get greasy. That sounds...
You said it.
I meant for that not to sound weird. I honestly
As soon as you
did.
said dad bone.
You got to back
You
up a
said
little
it.
ways to erase the weirdness.
But he's almost... The highest he's ever been for me is a 6 on almost hot.
He looks like a psychopath. It's like I don't like to like profile people, obviously,
No, he
but
looks-
like his attitude. He's got like a real quick temper. He's got some weird stances. I'm
And
like,
he looks a little bit like a Ken doll come to life.
But that got melted a little bit just before.
Yes,
just
very
beforehand.
accurate.
yeah,
But
that's
like,
why his face is so smooth.
I think that's like perfect casting because he is supposed to be unlikable.
but how do we know? How does Roger know that yet?
That's
We're
true.
different. We've seen more.
We're different.
It's different for us because like we've dabbled in other seasons.
It's
We know
true.
things to come and
That's
things to
true.
unfold. But Roger
I'll
has
say
no
it,
idea.
At this moment,
At
from
this
this
moment.
episode, in this one, Mr. Cooper's the worst dad in Riverdale. And we got a smattering of, like, rough dad moments. FP and Cliff had to...
Blossom.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that he was so outwardly in attitude or action repugnant, but like he probably will be in the future or like has been in the past. And like Mr. Cooper putting this dumb like ancient blood feud over his own flesh and blood is like very...
Putting his like morals, and I'm like, guy, it's like 2006. No, did Riverdale come out in 2016? Did it start first season as
I want to say
2016,
Yeah.
17 ish?
Yeah. Roger, I do have to ask, when you started watching this television program, did you think at any point you would be saying the words blood feud when talking about...
I'm not entirely shocked, but I am delighted. Just
fair.
because like I knew like some of the marketing stuff was kind of like occult or strange or some kind of like we can get into it later.
Yeah,
but-
let's dive into the episode.
Yeah.
I would say the basic through lines of this episode are sort of the family starting to come together, like we said. The lodges are throwing a
baby shower.
baby shower for Polly. Meanwhile, Fred Andrews is trying to begin his construction on the drive-thru, which we find out is going to pretty much save his entire business,
Which we kind of knew,
which we kind of knew that there was some financial troubles.
but his crew walks
do.
out on
Freaking
him.
Vic.
Yeah, God damn it, Vic.
Vic.
Let's see. I gotta say though, you were fiddling with the sound when we were getting started, and the very first thing that we heard was "pregnant with his baby," and I got so excited to watch this show with you again, John.
Oh, thanks, Fred. I'm happy every time you get to watch this. So we do start out with just Archie and Jughead playing a fake video game that looked like it was some sort of...
Well, it looks like a PC game on console.
It definitely
That's
looked like a PC game.
not even important.
But we got a first amazing Jughead quote where...
Archie says, "War is hell, Juggy."
And Jughead says, "No, Archie, hell is other people." And
It's kind of a thesis for the entire episode.
It's a good thesis for Jughead.
That's true. Speaking of, I was really happy for that Jughead narration this episode because things have gotten so batshit and out of control. So I was actually, where I've like kind of derided it in the past, I was happy to have him being like, here's where everything kind of is. Because
yeah, that's true. It was a good recap after the original recap at the beginning of the episode, with him giving kind of the status of what we still know about Jason, especially since that's sort of the through line of this whole season, but does kind of get pushed back.
It's been more of a background thing, and I think we're starting to see that.
But yeah, it's picking up the Blossom.
Yes, that's got to pick up because it's our story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's a big plot point.
Immediately when we started, you had a fun fact for John and I.
Yes, when we were getting the like overhead shot of the town.
So the overhead aerial, it's apparently... And I'm looking it up right now to make sure I'm not bullshitting anyone. So basically the set itself has been used for Pretty Little Liars and Gilmore Girls and Heart of Dixie. And like the high school is the same high school used in those shows for Pretty Little Liars, because I mean Rory goes to Gilmore. That's a whole other show we could get into
Stars
some
Hollow.
other time.
That's our offshoot
but
podcast.
That's the very aesthetic for like all those shows though. It's like the quaint little like small town where nothing bad can happen.
Yeah.
Was there ever a murder in Stars Hollow?
There was like the history of Stars Hollow, which was like the British are coming. I'm sure someone died at some point.
No one died in the Revolution, is what I
just assume
in.
everyone
died
dies
in
in Pretty
Girls.
Little Liars because I gave up after like 6 seasons of that. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. It just keeps happening. It's a good show. I would get back into it. And I know nothing about Heart of Dixie. Absolutely nothing. So I can't compare and contrast that.
They're throwing Polly this baby shower, and for some reason Betty's convinced that it's not a terrible idea, and she kind of is like, no, Mom's not gonna yell at people, and it's gonna be totally fine.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about Alice Cooper because she is my queen. At least this episode. Usually my queen is Cheryl, but in this episode it has to be Alice Cooper. She goes through like 4 character metamorphoses in this single episode, and each one of them I buy so much. She sent her daughter away to an insane asylum, and yet in this episode I almost want to forgive her for that at certain points, and other points I'm like, oh wow, you are the craziest mom in the world. Oh, she's so great.
I mean, we almost started pretty hot with her, like, I don't want to like skip because I know you have notes, but
No,
her
we can
storming
skip
into the
around.
high school.
Yes.
And then everyone mysteriously had coffees, and I was like, where's the local Star Ducks or nuclear
Starducks would fit
Nuco
perfectly.
Coffo.
Nuco Coffo, off-brand.
Starducks would fit perfectly, especially since at one point Veronica is bragging about being invited to a Vanity Flair
Yeah,
party.
that was right before Mrs. Cooper got there.
Vanity Flair and Elton John VIP concert at the same
so
time.
while
Very
all
cosmopolitan.
while all our main characters are hanging out in this impossible school lounge that has a pinball machine. I don't think you're allowed to have a pinball machine in your school. But
Yes, they are still illegal.
But I
think you
digress. There's a fantastic moment of sound design where it's pretty light and poppy, and then all of a sudden camera swish pans over to Alice Cooper entering the room, and there's a straight on like boom when she enters the room.
Very ominous.
It's all very good.
We would have missed that if the pinball machine had been...
It's true. If it had been clacking and clanging,
had been making its noises and doodads.
Thank God they're still illegal. I wrote down here that so River Dad goes to confront Cliff Blossom about this buying up all the labor in the world, basically. But he pulls up and I wrote down that I can't wait to be a dad so that I can argue with other dads at 6 inches. Like, get right into other dads' faces and say, "What's going on, bud?"
It's so close. Their cars are close.
They got
really close. We got a really great shot of Cliff's eyebrows, which I'm still personally offended by. They're just not, compared to all the other dad's eyebrows, if you were to go through it, I'll even say that Mr. Cooper's eyebrows, I'll give him that. They're better than Cliff Blossom's eyebrows. But like, guys.
None of Cliff Blossom's hair looks natural.
Nothing about him looks natural.
He looks like oh man, I'm going to forget his name, on Arrested Development, who has alopecia. I can remember alopecia, but I can't remember the name of the guy.
Flash back and or forward to Hermione Lodge and them planning this baby shower. I want to give so many props to Hermione Lodge because at this moment in the show's history, she's the only sane character.
She's the only sane mom.
At least, yes, the
Yeah.
only sane mom.
You always have the one sane character in an episode.
And it is her.
Today it's
because
Hermione Lodge.
at one point later, she talks to Alice and gives a very good reason to, you shouldn't just totally abandon your daughter just because her pregnancy is inconvenient for you.
Oh, there was a nice mom moment too, though. You're right. When they were in
Pops.
Yeah, they were at Pops.
Yep.
They were moms being moms.
It was, that's kind of what's fun about this one, is that it was kind of like the matriarchy stuff was one storyline and the kind of patriarchy stuff was the other storyline. But speaking of, on this other side of things, Archie gathers a bunch of high school beefcake Avengers to dig things.
So it is revealed that after getting this amazing bid, thanks to the help of Hermione Lodge, unfortunately, Fred cannot start construction on where the old drive-in used to be to save his company because Clifford Blossom has bought up all of his own labor. So he is left basically with nowhere to go until a bunch of boy beefcakes show up at his door.
Yeah. Also, they're all 16,
Yeah.
15,
I don't know the
16-year-olds.
child labor laws. That leads also into these mysterious thugs beating up on a 16-year-old.
Listen,
They
Beating up on Moose.
beat a child with
That was like
wrenches.
a full-on fucking like crowbars, also wrench, and
Yeah.
all he had was like, this part of my face got hit, and I got kicked a little.
That's true. They beat him up in the most
He'd be-
aesthetically appealing way.
He'd be in the hospital.
Yeah, he Moose
'Cause he's
does
a
pretty good.
minor.
Moose is also huge, so maybe there's something
Moose
going on.
Like
there.
a moose?
I can see where the
Moose.
name gets. I do a lovely costume note you did point out is that also all their yellow hard hats are very small for their
They're
heads.
so small. And then they brought their own hard hats, to which then Fred was like, oh, the hard hats go in that bin.
Yeah, that's a very
Over
good
there.
They
point.
rolled up wearing hard hats.
They
didn't
clearly
they?
must have like broken into the shed the night
Jughead
before.
rolled up, plaid already off. Wife beater
was-
fully
wife beater
exposed
out.
with his lambskin denim coat. And I was here for it.
I was also. I
That's
was
the
right
only
there with
outfit
you.
I was here
We
for.
saw that outfit and everyone knew immediately the coat was coming off and we were just going to
Yeah.
get wife beater for
Well,
the
I
rest of
never
the
know
time.
what season it is because you'll see the boys constantly wearing coats and the girls never have coats on.
It's true.
We were talking about this on the way over here, is that this show not only takes place in an ambiguous year with its 1950s tax season, we've gone into that, but also the season, it's always just before homecoming.
It's all
like
fall.
foggy and
almost, yeah.
so far anyway. So Moose stumbles on these thugs smashing up the generator. They beat him up and they decide that, somebody is employing people to beat up children. And Archie, classist motherfucker that he is, immediately says it's the fucking South Street Serpents with their snakes in boxes and bad income levels. We need to go fucking talk to these guys.
And then he follows through on that while putting on his fucking Leatherman jacket.
Yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do underage going into a bar. I'm gonna walk in wearing my varsity jacket.
I'm going to advertise to everyone at this bar that I am, in fact, underage.
And those are bright colors. Like, you're not sneaking past anyone with those Riverdale colors. And you're going to be like, to be fair, though, I don't think they asked for any alcohol. So they were just there for business only.
A very small detail that I loved in this episode is that, so the way the shots go is that Archie is in his room frustrated that Moose got beat up and Sheriff Keller isn't going to do anything about it.
Oh, and they pay, like, the most minor lip service to the fact that he is still dating Val, who shows
I'll
up for
get
half
into
a
that.
second.
I will get into how she is so
they
wasted as a
dating?
character. They
They're
are.
dating. Yeah, and
Oh,
she was in this
my
episode
God.
for all of 45
They're not
seconds.
just... No, she was at the baby shower
Well, no,
also.
she was... But also for, I think a combined total.
And
of,
she
like,
didn't... I don't want to jump, but she also did nothing when Archie came storming into the baby shower.
Yeah.
She was just like,
that's
what?
fair, that's
I'm
fair.
in the background for this scene.
Ugh. So yes, Archie is venting to Val about this, and he's like, I need to do something about this. She tells him not to, because she's a good, wholesome character, but he goes, no, I am, grabs his Leatherman jacket and walks out the door. Now, in every other show I have ever seen, the next shot would show him with the Letterman jacket on, but no, he apparently just held onto this jacket, because he walks into Pops still holding it in his hand, and I don't know why.
He's just too fired up to put his
too
damn
fired
coat
up
on.
to put his coat
Well,
on.
none of the ladies are wearing coats.
Fair.
It's true.
Because fashion.
So he hops into Pops, he meets up with Jughead and everyone else, and we find out that Jughead hasn't told anyone that Skeet Ulrich is his father, and also the head of
also
the
a
Southside
serpent.
Serpents.
I mean, I think we know that Skeet's his dad. I just think that
That's
nobody
true, yeah.
nobody knows that, like, he's back with the serpents.
Right.
Yes.
Or that he's even back. Wasn't he in jail? I'm trying to remember recaps.
So he was let go by
Yes,
River
yes,
Dad
yes.
because he got back into the drug stuff.
But I thought that was like 5 years ago or
I don't think it
something.
was so long ago, but it was like
When he's
prior to
back
the
on the booze.
Yeah, prior
Yes.
to the events of this show. Speaking of Skeet Ulrich and FP and all of that stuff, is that they sneak into this bar. All of this whole gaggle of 16-year-olds sneak into this bar.
Oh, Kevin.
Well,
Sneak
not
is
sneak
not-
in necessarily, but they
They're let in.
went hot.
They're
Like,
let
they
in by
were-
Joaquin.
Yeah.
Joaquin lets these guys in, and Skeet Ulrich shows up and keeps his fucking cool when Archie immediately. So he breaks up a fight that Archie gets
Hey,
himself into.
They played pool first.
They play pool for
They
a little
played
while,
pool.
and then Archie picks a fucking fight with a biker.
With a grown man.
Named Mustang.
Named Mustang. A grown man.
It's so...
When I was 16, I avoided any confrontation.
Oh, yeah.
And the conversation went like this. He said, "Hey," Mustang says, "What's up?" And he says, "You like beating up teenagers?"
Yeah, you
and
like
he's-
hitting minors.
And then Archie picks his fight.
Oh, no, and then Mustang goes, you got a death wish?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mustang says, "I'm not really here for this, but if you want it, I'll give it to you."
Apparently.
But then Skeet Ulrich shows up, breaks this fight up, and then Archie, so he saves Archie's life, basically. And
Basically.
then Archie immediately, next breath, accuses him of hiring Southside Serpents to beat up the generators and all that stuff.
That
And
classist piece of shit.
classist piece of shit.
I'd hit a 16-year-old too at that point if he was mouthing off to me, coming in hot at the bar that I go to the most.
100%.
I
At
would
your
have been
favorite
like,
bar.
I'm gonna smack you in the mouth.
Yeah, you come in here, you come into my house.
How dare you tell
wanna
him...
call the sheriff? His
So-
son's in here too, underage.
How
Let's get
dare
him
you
in
tell me
here.
I beat up minors? I'm gonna beat up this minor.
Yeah, let's get another dad in here, Sheriff Keller. Yeah, all the dads.
So Skeet Ulrich reveals that he has already called River Dad, who shows up, and then does the same thing. He accuses FP of being involved in the beating of his...
Of a minor.
Of a minor.
Of a minor.
And
This is where we get the dad sandwich I mentioned earlier.
this is the dad sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And FP keeps his fucking cool through all of this. And he's like, "Nah, you have done too many good things, and like you're watching Jughead and all of that stuff." And like he totally...
His boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of your old man's and my boy.
My boy.
So good.
And it's like, oh, it really fits the aesthetic
It's some great
in
dad
a
talk.
way. Some great dad talk.
So then we're into our baby shower here, and we open with this cover of Our House,
Yeah.
which was very good. And
A lot of great music in this episode.
Dude, I can't. The opener was I Put a Spell on You.
yep.
Is that a sign of things to come? Who
I
knows?
don't know. We'll have to find out.
And I wrote down that Alice Cooper shows up and has a real human moment. And it was, you can see this is where, for the first time, that she realizes that she needs to put her daughter as a higher priority than she has.
Yeah,
like,
I think-
up to now.
I think before she has perceived it as only looking towards her daughter's future and how she thought her daughter's future should be. And this is the first time she has really been invested in the present and actually thought about, okay, this isn't going to change. I can't change this. So how do I actually change myself? And how do I adapt to this in a way that actually supports my children? Because at the end of the day, Alice Cooper does love her kid. She's a mama lion, and later we get to see her fangs, and God, I love it.
Well, it's interesting because for the most part, I feel like a lot of the adults are able at like, they're capable of feeling different feelings at like one point. But I feel like she comes in like hot. Like she can only have one emotion that she's dealing with at once. And that's why she comes on so strong and so intense. She's coming in hot. Like there's never a chill moment with her.
Because she comes in and she has this like, okay, I am here for my kids. I'm going to be better about this. And then the Blossoms show up.
Oh my God. Cheryl almost basically kicks open the door and goes, "We're here," parading around this completely black,
this gothic ass perambulator, like straight up.
Dude, also Mama
and Nana Rose.
Nana Rose.
Fuck it up, yes. Nana Rose.
There's probably not going to be a great time to say this, but later Cheryl says to Nana Rose, "Let's go get you a good spot by the food, Nana Rose."
Let's just get you settled. Hey, that's the best spot.
That is the best spot.
Cheryl, their relationship, I love them to pieces.
Oh, I love her and Nana Rose. She's so protective of Nana Rose.
Yeah, Nana Rose, I don't want to jump in because I know you're going to make a mention of the quote.
Nana Rose has dementia and gypsy blood.
Cheryl's outfit, it should be noted, is absolutely fantastic into this. Showing a lot more skin than usual. I'm not against it.
She also went off the color scheme a little bit because she's wearing black and pink.
Yeah.
There's no red.
Wasn't quite the... Yeah, Mama
Blossom is wearing. She's coming
red.
in hot with
full
that
red.
So Nana is doing like this crystal reading to Polly, and she predicts twins, that she's carrying twins.
Spoiler alert for Roger, she does have twins.
Yeah, she has
twins. So this officially confirms that Nana Rose is some sort of genuine mystic. Yeah.
Now I immediately
had. She has a cloudy eye. I don't know how many movies and shows you've seen, but if someone has a cloudy eye, that means they can see some
real
shit.
So she predicts twins, and I immediately had this like whole spin-off television idea. I want them to do like a Baby Muppets, Baby Riverdale thing where one of the twins gets murdered by and there's a baby Jughead and there's a baby Archie, and they're all trying to solve the murder, but they're all babies.
I thought you were going to say Nana Rose Psychic Detective, which I would also 100%
I thought
watch.
you were going to turn this into like an American Horror Story thing where like the baby ate the other baby.
Oh my God. All three great shows.
Yeah, so
but not as good as Riverdale.
Yeah, spin-offs often pale in comparison to their original show.
As this baby shower is going on, it can be said it's going pretty well.
Oh, it's going great until fucking idiot Archie Andrews shows up.
Andrews shows up and wrecks shit.
Wait, we forgot to mention Jughead's sweater.
Jughead is wearing
the nicest of sweaters.
Yeah.
You can tell he doesn't want to be there. He's literally carrying these desserts around the whole... He could have taken any other fucking route. He went around the whole room carrying this dessert platter.
Like stiff-arming this platter.
As if it's poison.
Yeah, he's got to keep it away.
It's like a nice bughead. It's a nice bughead moment.
It's a good bughead episode.
That is sort of a small thread that plays throughout this whole thing, is them discovering their relationship.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the episode, Veronica officially dubs them boyfriend and girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And it is one of those moments that does briefly remind you that these are 16-year-olds. And in this one moment, they actually act like 16-year-olds, where they're all just like a little almost uncomfortable about suddenly having, quote unquote, a label for it. It's really cute.
I mean, that doesn't go away. The
But
older you get,
That's
it really
true.
doesn't.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like it's easier. Well,
We
back
get
when I was 16,
Oh, that was
you
the
just
other...
wanted the label.
You can just say it then,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Sorry to stop the show entirely, but the other segment that I wanted to do is called When I Was 16, and this is when we all say one thing that we did that was not investigate a murder when we were 16 years old.
Can we have like a general theme? Like I did a lot when I was 16.
Yeah, I was like
Anything that wasn't investigating a murder.
I had a surprise Sweet 16 party. That was fun. I cried. It was at a roller rink. I couldn't roller skate. That was a move that my mom made to be a Brenda. I was
really into going to youth group at my local church.
Oh.
I feel like a lot of people went through that phase.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely.
Oh,
had
shout out!
a-
I still love my youth group. They're a great bunch. We had a pregnant girl there. Shout out to Shannon.
Hey,
Aw.
John Erickson's youth group. I hope y'all are River Vixens and listening in on us.
Don't tell my mom about this show.
Don't tell any of our moms about this show.
I can't even youth group, man. It's like a concept. Well, I got, not to like go into it, but like I got confirmed and then I went to public school for the first time and I was like, wow,
Me
I
too.
have some hard stances on why maybe I shouldn't be a Catholic at like the ripe age of
16.
no, it's like 14
Oh.
because it's 8th
Oh.
grade.
Well, we're playing when I was 16.
Oh, when I was 16.
This revelation about your life
We
is
can't
disqualified.
We can't go that deep.
I was too busy going to surprise Sweet 16 parties.
Right.
Or-
Let's see. At 16, something that happened to me when I was 16? My 16th birthday.
Yep, that happened.
My 16th birthday, my dad took me to Hooters, and
Oh, nice.
I was when he told them that it was my birthday there, they put me in a hula hoop and told me that I had lost my virginity. So I lost my virginity at 16 in a Hooters.
This was an unfair segment because that's a great
I
story.
feel like you
I
already
honestly-
came in hot with this already and waiting for like, because I
You-
was like, no, I set the tone with the birthdays.
Yeah.
But you already
Yeah.
had it in your brain that I didn't know about.
You said when I was 16 like 3 times while we were watching this episode, and I was like, I need to tell
Again,
this.
because
when
in
I
this
was 16.
universe, every 16-year-old is basically an adult.
Yeah, every
And they are
16-year-old
treated
is
as
30.
such until someone's like grounded and they're like, what? Grounded?
Yeah.
What a concept.
During this episode, Archie's talking to his dad like, listen, your burdens are my burdens. You need to share what's going on.
When I was 16, I was like, I want to play video games and what's for dinner?
Right?
Well, I got my first job when I was 16, but I worked in an ice cream shop. I wasn't doing hard labor where I had to wear a too small hard hat.
You weren't shoveling the foundation of your father's only means to provide for his family. So Archie shows up to this fucking baby shower.
Yes, there
and
is
he-
almost was a record scratch of him like walking in there. Everyone stops talking. He doesn't do a single thing subtle.
He brings his shitty classist energy.
Yeah, there's
into
like
the
no
room.
decorum. He was
Yeah.
like, your dad's a serpent?
Yeah.
And you didn't tell us.
In a whole episode of people going like, can I talk to you in private? He's the one person this whole episode that's like, hey, listen, bud.
Yeah, so he shows up and
You like hitting minors?
and tells Jughead basically what a butt he is for not telling him about his dad, whatever. He leaves, and then the rest, it's like the dominoes thing, you know? The rest of the shit starts hitting the fan, and everybody stands up and starts yelling at each other.
I want to give points to Veronica because she's the one who's like, hey, not here. Which throughout this whole episode, she's kind of been...
She must have run
she's
in the Lodge
second.
family.
Yeah, the Lodge
Lodge
family
family
is the most sane people this episode because she is like, hey, this is a baby shower. You idiot.
And it's almost like you could say he, instead of a jughead, he's being a butthead. Get it?
Yeah,
That was bad.
that's a good
You
one.
almost said
Up
that,
top.
and I was gonna, I wasn't quick enough in there.
Something I kind of liked about this episode, but like you kind of touched upon it, is there's like almost a role reversal between like Archie and his dad. But Archie's like a doofus, and so he doesn't like, he can't give good River Dad advice, but he like wants to, because like
Yes.
this is the lowest we've seen River Dad at this point, and Archie's instinct is to try and like console him, but he's a child and doesn't know anything.
Yeah, so after Archie leaves, basically is kicked out of this baby shower, he goes home. His dad is drinking a beer in the dark, and his dad gives him a real, I don't want to say heart to heart because Archie's too stupid, but like his dad's certainly showing his heart, saying how he is a builder and he tried to build this company for Archie and he tried to build a good life for his son. Man, there's so much acting happening in this scene.
In this episode as a
But
whole.
I
did like the moment where Archie was like, if I have a son and he's not into music and he's into building houses like his grandpa, it would be pretty cool.
which, like a 16-year-old, he's still assuming that he's going to be a famous musician someday.
I
Bless
mean,
him.
we all have dreams.
We all have dreams.
Yeah, don't shit on this poor 16-year-old's dreams. His dreams to get killed by a biker in a bar.
He's got
He's got a mouth on him that
really
that
does.
Archie does.
So we have father and son face to face, and then we have another father and son face to face just after, where Jughead shows up and introduces his dad to Betty, and immediately starts grilling him about Jason. And FP has this thing like, I'm not a great dad, but I didn't have anything to do with Jason.
More great acting. More great acting.
They have a stare off. You can see Cole Sprouse's eye just like twitching.
It's great. And FP kind of can't meet his eye. Oof, just great all around.
And then we've got the scene after everything kind of blows up at the...
Before that,
the
I want to
lighting.
give huge props to the lighting department and the cinematography
Oh shit!
department.
Yeah,
so-
I can't believe I almost skipped this.
So Betty and Jughead leave FPs. They've got their information and they're talking. They're saying, oh, do you believe him? Yes, I do. He's my dad, but I do believe that he's not a murderer. He's saying, do you believe him? And she's saying, I believe you.
Ugh.
And they come in for this kiss and the camera starts to turn around and they're in the middle of a trailer park and there is one light above them, but the camera manages to perfectly catch this light into this like beautiful heavenly bouquet kind of effect on the side of the frame.
And we get a bug head kiss.
And they kiss and it's, oh man.
It's a very well lit trailer
It's
park.
so good. It's so well done, and it's such a higher production value than I feel like you need to have for a show like this. But the show is defined by like how much effort the people behind the scenes put in to the costumes, to the lighting, to the cinematography. I love it so much.
Word up. So Archie shows up to this baby shower, everyone blows up, and then in this kind of quiet moment, after everyone leaves, Polly reveals that Mr. Cooper, the worst dad in Riverdale, had, when he found out about the pregnancy, in the CW's way of doing it, reveals that he made an appointment with an abortionist.
in
pregnancy.
the CW like style.
Oh yeah, well yeah. So no, in the CW way of like dodging around censors, they can't just come out and say, he talked to an abortion clinic.
Oh yeah,
They kept
certain
it
words.
very pointedly said they made an appointment with a doctor.
Yes.
To take care,
Yeah.
all of that
They
stuff.
beat around the bush.
Yeah.
But we fully got
But we
Yeah.
the bush.
get what we're talking about.
There's a lot of like revelations towards the end.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's kind of a slow burn episode in a way, but like there's some revelations and it's definitely pushing the plot forward.
Yes. And so we have this kind of revelation, and they tell Alice Cooper about this, and she confronts Mr. Cooper.
It's so good.
She
And-
whips that fucking remote. I was
Yeah,
like, you coming in hot again.
She
Okay.
pops in and turns the fucking game off, throws the remote, and says, "Game on,
throws
motherfucker."
throws the remote underneath a desk, which is such a beautiful level of like, she had that remote in her hand, she could have thrown it, she could have put it down, she could have held on to it. No, she throws it in the hardest place to get it back into the room.
Yeah, like the batteries, the batteries popped out of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He's gonna have to crawl around on all fours.
The back of that will no longer easily stay on the back
Yeah.
of the remote. You gotta duct tape that on.
100%.
Thank goodness he can get under there easy because he is spineless.
In that shove, I mean, I've taken stage combat, but she
man.
hit that throw, and I
Yeah.
was like, girl, she in the moment.
She was feeling
She's
it.
feeling
God
it.
bless.
She's going red.
This is kind of that second revelation that Alice Cooper has, where she's kind of rearranging her priorities, like putting her daughter above even her own husband, tells him to get out because apparently this isn't the first time he's pulled this shit. She reveals that this is the same thing that he did when she was pregnant with Polly. Mm-hmm. And he is busy putting his own blood feud ahead of his family. Mm-hmm. And he gets himself kicked out of the Cooper house.
Bye. We don't need him in there anyways.
Oh, it's so good. We see possibly the first, 100% full break of the Alice Cooper character that she puts up, because he brings up, what will people think of me being thrown out of my own house? Which is a great juxtaposition to the beginning of the episode where Jughead compares them to the Stepford wives, having this perfect image, which we've seen her kind of trying to maintain throughout the whole season. And this is her first moment where she says, I do not care about what other people think about this. I am going to do what is best for my real family, my daughter.
I love Polly showing up and having agency in this episode. Up until now, she's been like a piece that we're moving around, but this is the first time that she's shown up and been like, hey, Mom, I need like a mom. I need you.
Yeah.
And like she kind of tells her like what she needs, and that was great because it would suck if she ends up being like the MacGuffin of the season, just like she is the object we're all trying to get, but doesn't have any real like character or agency or like that kind of thing. So that was great.
Well, she's got to get back home because
There you go.
I think she needs to get back also to her headband collection. She has a different, for someone who like doesn't have a home.
Yeah.
She certainly has.
She's wearing a gold headband.
There's at least
during
like
the baby shower.
5 different headbands. Every scene we see Polly, I think she has a different headband
It's
for
very
every
true.
outfit. It's kind of like that's like a signature. Everyone has her signature.
Yep.
Polly has a headband. Veronica has her pearls.
Has her
Even when
pearls.
she's not wearing her pearls, she had a pearl belt at one point that
Yes,
you noticed.
I did.
Even I mean, she had like the one little. She had like one pearl on her choker, but it was
She had to have.
She had to have
at
one.
least one.
And then freaking Betty's got her ponytail.
Yes. Cheryl always has her spider brooch.
Yes.
Or something red. Yeah, everybody's got their...
But Polly's is headbands.
Yeah.
That's her thing.
And that's when we start wrapping up the episode. We cut back to Skeet Ulrich at his house.
And he's plotting some shit with Joaquin. They're up to some kind of business where Joaquin is like getting in with Kevin, so they have kind of a line to the sheriff.
Well, they
And
also have Jason's varsity jacket.
Yeah.
Which he
Which
calls his
Insurance.
Evidence.
policy. Yeah.
Well, also insurance.
his insurance policy. So we have this like brief scene where we're like, okay, well maybe he's not involved in the death, but he's got the jacket as a means to like get something. And then immediately shows up at River Dad's work site with all of his serpents, and they're ready to work.
After we get a great shot of Hermione Lodge's boots.
Yeah, those are some good boots. That's the question I have. Where'd you get those boots? Also, that's a throwback to earlier when all the little 16-year-old beefcakes show up and Kevin is walking away and he's telling Hermione those boots. You see, he mouths it to her.
Oh,
Also,
bless
she's not a
Kevin.
construction set. I don't want to talk about fashion over comfort.
But really, they looked untouched by the mud, but that was only for that brief second.
Also, the moms are the only women that ever wear coats. Just saying.
But we end the episode with FP getting in with the biker guys on the work site, and Polly ends up going to Thornhill with the Blossoms for the security of her baby.
In the old-timey modern
The
cab.
old-time mansion, scary, spooky place.
Yep. Do you want to bust open some river mail?
After I pee.
Okay.
What do you got in the old river mail bag?
Listen, I don't have anything, because guess what? We just launched on iTunes. Brr, 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 brr.
And, you know, all the other podcast apps.
Yeah, just about everything else. We're on Stitcher, we're on Spotify, we're on Pocket Casts, we're on Google Play. Those are all the ones I could think of.
Those are all the ones I think there are.
Yep. So if you are enjoying the show or have questions or have comments or just anything, big or small, send us an email at riverdorkspodcast@gmail.com.
What were you up to when you were 16? Would any of this be applicable when you were 16? Let us know.
Did you solve the murder mystery in your small town?
Did you go to youth group?
I'm out of ideas. That's it. No more jokes. This podcast is over. Hope, do you have any questions for the people out there?
No.
No further questions. Thank you. Good night. Oh, but
write this down.
thank you for listening.
Oh, yes,
we
of course.
really appreciate you, River Vixens, tuning in, letting us doofuses do our shit.
We definitely want to shout out to our friends in Sweden.
Yeah, we got 2 listens in Sweden. I don't know who you are, but
That's so great.
Right?
thanksins for listenings.
And our... Okay. We've lost them.
Now we've lost our listener in Sweden. Is it time for River Best?
I think now, if you'll let me,
Yeah, I will.
it's time for River Best.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. Would you like to, as the guest of honor, go first?
No, I'm compiling my list, so I would like to go last.
Okay, good, because
Okay.
I'm also going to stop recording so I can write down my list.
Okay. Hope, would you like to go first as our guest of honor?
Yeah, I guess now that I actually have my list compiled. Okay, so I pick 3?
Yes.
Top 3.
3, but start with any honorable mentions you might have.
So my top 3 are, in third I have Nana Rose.
Yes.
Because everything's just better when Nana Rose is there. And I think eventually she's going to like play a shit ton into this. So that's Nana Rose. Great.
Roger, what's your number 3?
Oh, my number 3. Well, my shout out goes to Nana Rose because, man, oh man, same reasons. Anytime she shows up is great. My number 3 goes to Cole Sprouse in that wife beater.
Yeah.
Like, anything else that happens in this episode, we got Cole Sprouse in a wife beater.
And that sweater.
And
He's good with or without clothes.
Get yourself a guy who can do both. He also, and it just sort of speaks to like the nature of Jughead's character. I'm growing to like him more and more since like the first 3 episodes of this show. He's just exposition. We get more and more into him, and the more we get into him, the more I like him, and he's just here for everybody, and that's great.
That's fair. I think Jughead almost coming into this show with almost no knowledge of the Archie universe. Jughead is almost the only character I knew that had a defining character trait, which was just that he liked burgers. But I wonder if almost in that way, that's why he's the slowest to really have a personality and a real character be revealed.
I mean, because everybody else has very, like, Veronica and Betty both love Archie, and that's like a foothold for them to get into.
Exactly. That they're trying to kind of introduce him as this fully realized character that is probably the most different from the Archie version.
Yeah. Stop teasing us. Who's your number 3, John?
My number 3, surprisingly, Kevin. Who we haven't talked a lot about this episode.
That's not surprising to me.
I love Kevin.
I love Kevin. And Kevin, we didn't say it while we were talking, but Kevin has the line, "We're all gonna die," when they walk into the White Worm for the first time and he sees that they just keep a snake in there. Mm-hmm. And it really is almost entirely that one moment. But Kevin probably has the best line of the whole thing. He was the basis of all the comic relief for the episode, and I love him.
Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Kevin Keller.
That's
basically everything you just said.
I'm so happy that he's going up the list. I thought it would just be me.
No, I wouldn't call him a scene stealer.
He was a secret weapon.
He was a secret weapon.
Yeah.
This is like, okay, so I have a theater degree.
Join the fucking club.
Screw your like ingenue roles. I love secondary characters, but the best is just having those like, there's not really any importance. There's no weight. No one really expects a lot from your character as they're watching, but you have those one-liners that fucking steal the moment without taking too much attention, and you're the most memorable. And those are always the most fun parts, at least for me, because there's not pressure. And I'm like, he does it. He does it so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Kevin Keller's my number 2.
My number 2 was FP. And I'll tell you why. Is because he, until the end, and you find out that while he may not be necessarily like fully redeemed yet, he's still drinking. There's still some weird stuff going on with the Jason's jacket and the Joaquin stuff. Everything else, he keeps his cool when everyone else is being real shitty to him, and like they accuse him of like going after the generator equipment and all of this stuff with no evidence. They just immediately assume that it's Southside Serpents because they're the fucking thugs, and he handles it so well and is also like trying to get it together for Jughead, and that is it. It was good. Who's your number 2, bud?
My number 2 is actually is River Dad, is Luke Perry.
Oh.
I think I usually leave it to Roger to give him all the points. But yeah, that I don't think we talked enough about the scene where he really just lets it go, because he has been the rock as far as parents acting like parents and giving good advice and just maintaining a calm, sane demeanor. So to see him have a full breakdown and to have a full crack, especially in front of Archie, I think is a real defining character moment and was unexpected, but really in an episode where a lot of characters revealed a deeper level to themselves, his was the most surprising to see. And he's just a great dad throughout the entire episode. What can I say?
Drum roll.
Oh, real.
Let's all say, because it's probably all the same.
I'm ready.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Alice Cooper.
Listen, I knew as soon as you said let's say it all at the same time, I was like, they have the same one and I do not. So let's do it. Here's way. Mustang is mine, River Best.
Oh, please.
Mustang is just minding his own business at his go-to bar, being an adult, and then some mouthy little 16-year-old in a varsity jacket, classist as fuck, is gonna come in, pull me around by the shoulder, not even a tap, but like a pull, and it's like, I heard you like hitting minors. I'd smack him too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In the world where we're all adults from like 14 up on the CW, because I feel like that's a reoccurring theme, he's lucky that he didn't kill him.
It's true, and it's only because of FP that he didn't.
Only because of FP, but also Mustang,
Mustang, yeah.
He's River Best this week for me.
Amazing. Alice Cooper
For us, yeah. I mean, called shot at the beginning of this episode, we would talk about Alice Cooper a lot. She goes through almost 4 different character transformations. She's a character who, at the beginning of the series, you already think is almost unforgivable because of the way she treats her daughter, and she's definitely one of the most classist characters of the whole thing. And yet,
I wonder why.
we see her having slowly broken down and build herself up again.
That's interesting. I think too, I've had a hard time like getting into Alice Cooper because she has seemed so kind of one note, but I think it's because they were really smart about the way they revealed what's going on with her. Like, she starts out episode 1 and she's like fed up with Archie. She hates Archie, the redheaded idiot neighbor boy, but they don't really get into the fact that it's because of Jason Blossom and his relationship with Polly until later, and then you start to get that, but then you start to realize that, oh, her priorities are like out of whack, and now we're starting to see her start to have those realizations, and that's really cool to see, like, that kind of arc for a character who could remain kind of a one-note semi-villain. A lazier writer would let that, like, carry through.
I think it's a testament to the writing that you could almost argue the 2 of the biggest villains in Alice Cooper and Cheryl are both 2 of the characters that you witness the most growth from as the season slowly goes on. And eventually you almost start rooting for these characters. And that's why they are both my queens.
John, do you have some updated numbers for us?
Let me run the numbers real quick and...
Beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop.
All right, we've run the numbers. Luke Perry is, of course, still our number 1 with 20 points. But let it be noted that this is the first time he has not been in Roger's River Best.
Yeah, he's still first in my heart, though.
Then quickly rising up the ranks, we have Alice Cooper, now with 13 points after getting a big bump of 6 points this episode. And my other queen right below there, Cheryl, with 11 points. Then underneath that is Betty with 10, Veronica with 8, Kevin with 6, Josie with 5, Hermione Lodge with 4, FP with 4. We have Jughead moving up a little bit with 3. We still have the Tears for Fears cover / the Murder Wall with 3 points.
It's going to make that surprise comeback in the season finale. Tear everything up.
And then now with our new rule added that any guest's number 1 will be added to the list with 3 points. We have
Mustang!
We have Mustang with 3 points. Let's hope that, unlike the person underneath him, Miss Grundy with 2 points, he actually returns to the series.
I mean, we don't know. Will Mustang come back? We don't know.
After that, we have Joaquin with 2 points, Nana Rose with 1 point, and Cheryl's mom with 1 point.
We need to give Nana Rose more points.
Yeah, Nana Rose is definitely going to win.
She deserves all the points.
She's going to at least get
If there's going to be a miscongeniality, it's going to be Nana Rose.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I also don't understand the reference.
That's like the popular vote.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just a movie.
Nana Rose is Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
We all learned something
What do we do next?
Well, next, I guess it's time for everybody's favorite segment.
Almost everybody's.
It's time for the Riverdale recap, in which Roger Miller tells us everything that's happened in Riverdale up to this point. Roger, whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right, I gotta assume the position.
Oh,
he gets deep in on the mic.
It's gonna...
Do I need to
move?
No, this is fine. I'm just gonna do this right here. All right, are we ready? This story is about a dead redhead named Jason who got killed by somebody Who did it? I don't know. It wasn't me. It probably wasn't Dilton Doily, who we haven't seen since episode 3. Anyway, the 4th of July, Grundy, who is a teacher who teaches cello, and her name isn't really Mrs. Grundy, and Archie Andrews, a dumb 16-year-old redhead boy who isn't Jason Blossom, are banging in a bug, and then they sleep in the woods and they hear a gunshot. And then there's some stuff about Veronica Lodge moving to Riverdale from New York City with her mom. Her dad is in jail, and she's a socialite, and she makes out with Archie in a closet, and Betty gets mad because Betty is his next door neighbor, and she has a mom who seems to be crazy but turns out to just be the perfect person. And what does happen? All kinds of stuff. Archie wants to be a musician, but he's an idiot, and his dad is the best and gives really good advice, and everyone is trying to solve this murder, and there's a pep rally, there's a car is set on fire. Jughead is also there, and he is a good narrator because he's writing the story about how Jason Blossom got murdered ahead of time, and actually the time of him writing never makes any sense in a like linear time sense with how the show is going, but that's fine. He is the son of the head of the South Side Serpents, who are a biker gang who may or may not be involved in Jason Blossom's murder. But one thing is sure, they're bad news. Apparently, everyone in town seems to think so, despite having no real evidence that they are. Luke Perry runs a construction company. Veronica's mom bought the land for the drive-through theater that Jughead was living at, and now they're gonna build an apartment complex or something. But are they? Because blood feuds and labor force. Oh my god, I have completely lost the plot of what this show is about. The classism and the American dream. And Polly is Betty's sister, and she's pregnant with Jason Blossom's unborn twins, we found out. And oh no, oh no, my head hurts so bad. You make me do this every time. And then Miss Grundy played the cello, and then she exploded, and she hitchhiked. Miss Grundy hitchhiked out of town, and Polly is now living at Thorn Hill, which is the fucking wild ass gothic castle that the Blossoms all live in, and the Blossoms are crazy redheads, and they're also there. But Cheryl is Jason's twin sister, who is the queen of the universe, and that's where we're at.
Sounds right to me.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Roger needs a nap.
Hope, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Do you have anything you'd like to promote?
I host trivia and stuff around Brooklyn, New York to be specific.
Yeah, not Brooklyn, Ohio, like you were thinking.
If you think I'm funny, or if you think, wow, she sounds like she would be a good trivia or bingo or drunk game host, follow Broadly Entertaining on Facebook and come hang out sometime.
Do it, or we'll disown you, even though you've been so kind and loyal to us, River Vixens.
We won't. Don't listen to it.
Do it for Mustang.
So we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be next year. Happy Hanukkah, happy solstice, happy joyous Kwanzaa, and all the other holidays I'm not remembering right now.
Perfect. Thanks so much for listening.
Let's get out of here.
As we say, as always...
Oh, well, I've been Roger Miller.
I've been John Erickson.
Yeah, like we always say at the end of every single episode,
we're all
quality
gonna
always.
die. Thanks for listening.